must be paid to the selection of lifting appliance, as they bear the whole weight of the cement silo in the whole assembly process. The lifting ring and wear rope should be reasonably selected according to the load. Note, in case of insufficient sealing rubber strips, left joint should be adopted in the whole length and should not be less than 50 mm. Install 4 upper coin pieces according to the corresponding position of accessories on the joints. Connect angle steel flangers and inner ring small flangers of the 4 upper coin pieces with M16x45. Connect flangers around the upper coin and cylinder with the M16x55 bolts. When installing, adopt the method of staggered joints. Namely, the butter joint on the next layer is located in the middle of 2 adjacent butter joints on the previous layer, and the vertical strip at T-joint should protrude 10 mm, and more sealant should be applied at the joints to prevent water leakage. Connect corresponding holes on the protective railing around the upper coin with M16x55 bolts. Fix the straight section below the edge discharging box and the flanges of the upper coin with band fixing bracket and 114U bolts. If the edge discharging box interferes with the third crossbar of the railing on the top of silo, cut off the crossbar on side. At this time, safety valve and the dust collector can be extorted, or they can be extorted after the silo is erected. Connect the big and small coins of upper coin with M16x45 galvanized bolts. Note that there's a flat washer on the both sides of the flange, and a spring washer on the nut side. Make lap joints with sealing rubber strips at lower flanges and apply more sealant. Next, install the safe valve and the dust collector, or install them at the last after silo is erected. Lift the upper coin and assemble 6 segments of the cylinder in turn. Note that 24 cylinder segments are interchangeable. Adopt the method of stacked joints for each layer. That is, make the center joint of the next segment located right in the center of the previous segment, and stagger the vertical butter joints. Similarly, the vertical strip at the T-joint should protrude 10 mm, and apply 5 cm of sealant horizontally to each side of T-joint for sealing. The first hole to the outside at the joint of bending piece connecting the vertical ladder and the silo body is the first mounting hole of the railing on the top of silo. When assembling the cylinder segments, 1 ladder step should be installed for every cylinder segment installed, and at the same time, the ladder cage and its connecting rod should be installed. The upper and the lower ladder steps are connected by connecting plates and M8x50 screws. The first fixing point of the uppermost ladder step is above the upper coin flange, which is fixed by band fixing brackets and 30 square tube U-shaped screws. And the second and the third fixing points of the ladder are connected with the bending pieces and M12 bolts. The fixing points under the fourth fixing points, including, are fixed by band pieces and M8 square U-shaped screws. Cage and ladder side seal are fixed by M8x50 screws, and the cage and connecting rod are fixed by M8x30 screws. Install 6 cylinder segments and corresponding ladder at the proper order. Assemble the big coin of the lower coin. Decidue the top segment of the lower coin that connects with the straight segment of the cylinder. Assemble the big coin according to the corresponding number. And the 4 big coins should be assembled in the order of AA, BB, CC, and DD. Lift the cylinder and assemble it with the assembled big coin. Note that the method of the staggered joints should be adopted. That is, make the center joint of big coin located right in the center of the previous segment, and stagger the vertical butter joints. Use M16x45 screws for the vertical joints of the cylinder segments and the lower coin. and these screws are provided with 2 flat washers and 1 spring washer. Install 2 flat washers on both sides of the joint and spring washer on the nut side, then tighten the nut. Assemble the middle coin in the order of AA, BB, CC, and DD. When butting the coin, place sponge glue strips between the joint of coin pieces and apply sealant. When connecting the upper and lower coins, align the upper and lower positioning arrows. It should be noted that connect the flat flanges of lower coin with M16x50 bolts and the vertical angle steel flanges with M16x45 bolts. The 4 landing legs and connecting brace are unnumbered and interchangeable. Use M20x50 screws for the landing legs and connecting braces. After the landing legs are assembled, install the maintenance platform. Make butt joints between 2 platforms with M16x45 and use M20x50 for side platform connecting plate. Install platform fences. Install 3 long fences on the non-ladder side and 2 short fences on the ladder side, and fix platform with M10x30. Connect fence pieces with hoop to increase stability. Install the lowest step of the ladder. Fix the ladder with angle steel. One end with M16x45 screws under horizontal brace, and the other end with 30 U-shaped screws. Note that the fit-type fixing bracket hole is located on the right side of the ladder. Then hoist the whole lower landing leg to the foundation of the cement silo. Adjust the diagonal line and the center-to-center distance between the landing leg. Unwear the lower end of one landing leg with embedded steel plate on the foundation. Wear the one landing leg only. The 4 legs and the connecting supports of upper segment are unnumbered and interchangeable. Connect the landing leg and brace together according to the drawing. And pay attention not to tighten the screws between the landing leg and the brace, because the diagonal line and the center-to-center distance need to be adjusted after connecting with the coin. Use M20x50 bolts to connect the landing legs and braces. Erect scaffolding on site with a height of 2 meters. But the flanges of the mounting seat on the lower coin with those of the upper landing support. Use M27x75 bolts for the flanges and upper mounting base. Then tighten the U-steel support bolts of the upper landing legs. Then install the small coin in place. Install the ladder corresponding to the upper landing legs. Hoist the combination of the cylinder and upper landing legs and place it on the lower landing leg. Align the holes with the point pin. Use M24x80 bolts for connecting the leg flanges. After connection, measure the center-to-center distance and diagonal line of the landing legs, and tighten the M20x50 screws on the lower landing legs. Weigh the other 3 legs firmly with the embedded steel plates on the foundation. Assemble the feed pipes together. Place rubber gaskets between the flanges of the feed pipes. And use M12x50 screws. Hoist the feed pipe with the crane and connect it with the edge inlet of the upper elbow. Note the direction of the edge inlet and the lower part and add rubber gasket between the 2 butted flanges. In the vertical direction corresponding to the bending bracket for fixing the feed pipe with the upper point. Fix the bending bracket on the flange of cylinder segment every 2 segments. Fix the feed pipe and bending bracket with the U-shaped bolts. Note that the cylinder is provided with 4 fixing brackets. One for fixing the edge discharging on the top of silo, and the other 3 for fixing the feed pipe. For the landing leg part, every horizontal support is provided with 1 feed pipe fixing bracket, and 1 fixing bracket is provided for the maintenance platform. The fixing bracket is connected with horizontal U-steels by M16x45 screws, and feed pipe is connected with the tail end of bracket by the 114 U-screws.